some people could look at the moves that China's making today and say, actually, that is them trying to maintain digital sovereignty. Because if you don't have digital sovereignty in China, whether it's social media, whether it's some of the tech companies, then actually you don't have control at all. But what you're saying is China can exist without the techno-utopians. It can still foster the independence of some of those private sector companies without suppressing innovation, because to your point, this is key.
I think there's a big difference between Jack Ma, who decided that he could operate separately from and even bigger than Xi Jinping, and was publicly throwing fusillades at Chinese regulators the way Elon Musk was going after the SEC with his tweets. In the United States, you've got fanboys if you do that. In China, they cut you down. And so I don't see an Elon Musk existing again inside China. But that doesn't mean that they're going to kill their private sector. It's too dangerous for them in undermining their own growth and undermining their competitiveness with the United States.
Who's the winner in the innovation battle? To your point, if we're going into a period of power sharing between governments, you've got regulators in there, you've got the tech companies that are fighting for their survival, trying to work out what the best model is, both today and in this sort of evolution of technology where they're all fighting for the same space because they're all becoming super entities, super apps, as we call them in other parts of the world. Who wins that battle? And who ultimately becomes the best innovators? Because to your point, China's right now behind.
Well, what's so interesting is that if you were asking that question 5 years ago, 3 years ago, the answer would be the United States or China. And what I'm arguing is that actually it's more complicated than that.
Yes.
It is the United States or China or the tech companies. And the tech companies are very different as entities from the United States or China, even if they happen to be based in one or the other of those countries. Right now, I would argue that technologically, the United States and China are roughly at parity. But increasingly, we're not talking about the governments when we're saying that. We're talking about the capacity of these companies to continue to drive that level of innovation. And so you've got a couple of different variables as inputs that you need to understand before you think about what that balance of tech power looks like. Radically different than if you're asking me, Julia, who has the upper hand in the battle over Taiwan or the 9-dash line in the South China Sea, or even in terms of the trade balance between the two countries. Radically different question. But if we're talking about technological supremacy, we can't just talk about governments.